Hi Morgan, my name's Kelly Guy, and like you, I am from Parkersburg, West Virginia. Believe it or not, you and I are the exact same age, and I'm not sure what part of town you grew up in. But I wanted to get in touch with you about something that's happening in the Parkersburg area that I feel that you need to be aware of. It's concerning DuPont and a chemical that they have released into the water sources here called C8. Last December, I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, and 10 years previous to that, my sister was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. Then about 4 years ago, she had a son, and he was born with spina bifida, and I just got to thinking something isn't quite right here. We have very strong family histories on both sides of the family, and just not making any sense why there's so much disease and such happening. So I have some things I wanted to share with you. I do want to introduce you to my sister and her son. Morgan, I want to introduce you to my sister, Brooke, and this is her son, Brock. 10 years ago, Brooke was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. Then 5 years ago, she got pregnant with Brock. And when she was pregnant with Brock, she was living on an infected water supply, a water supply that had very high levels of C8. Brock was born with spina bifida. And I'm going to ask Brooke to just take a minute and explain and show you what happened to Brock when he was born. First thing I want to state is that when the doctors found out that Brock had spina bifida, they did try to get Brooke to abort her pregnancy. So I want to keep that in your mind as a consideration of what's going on in this area, because there might not be any really true counts of what's going on with these birth defects that are happening, because these babies that are showing up with birth defects, the doctors are suggesting that they abort.
Hi Morgan, my name is Brooke, and this is my son Brock. I basically just want to show you the scars from where he had surgery from after he was born, where they did spinal work on his surgery. Right here's where he had surgery right there after he was born. And then they put a shunt in his head. See it, but there's a shunt right here in his head that they had to put in his head. And the tube goes all the way down behind his ear and comes over his collarbone right down into his stomach. And this is the scar from where the tube goes down into his stomach.
Needless to say, I'm pretty upset about how my family has been affected. We're going to kind of go out today, do a little driving around, get some shots of DuPont. I just want to share a little bit of what I have discovered and what has been discovered in regards to what DuPont has been doing to the area of Parkersburg. This area is near and dear to my heart, as I'm sure it is to you, because growing up here. We need to do something, Morgan, and that's why I'm sending you this letter in video format. I'm asking for your help. I know that you are really good at having a voice and exposing things. And what is happening to the people of the Parkersburg area is just something that should not be happening. This is a situation where a large plant has moved in, taken advantage of a population, given them jobs, but is also killing them at the same time. So, you know, everyone here feels a loyalty to DuPont and doesn't want to speak up about the injustices that are happening, because DuPont has, quote, supported their families for all these years, but DuPont is also killing their families as well. So we're off, and you're along with us, and we'll see you in a few. One thing I did not tell you is that my sister and I are involved currently in a class action lawsuit against DuPont, and I wanted to read some of the discovery to you. Since the early 1950s, DuPont has used a chemical compound known as C8 in its manufacturing of Teflon at its Washington Works plant in Wood County, West Virginia. C8 has been manufactured by the 3M Company, and the 3M Company has sold it to DuPont. Although it has been a multi-million-dollar annual product for 3M for decades, 3M voluntarily decided to stop production of C8 in May 2000 because of concerns about its toxic, bioretentive, and animal carcinogenic cancer-causing properties. In its manufacturing process, DuPont has discharged large quantities of C8 as waste material into the air and water surrounding its Washington Works plant. Much of this waste containing C8 has been disposed of in DuPont's dry run landfill, its Lantana landfill, and discharged into the Ohio River. Significant quantities of C8 were detected by DuPont in the drinking water supplied by the Lubeck Public Service District in 1984, which is just right down the road here. There was no public announcement of that finding by DuPont. DuPont advised the Lubeck Public Service District in 1989 that C8 had been detected in its water, but again, no disclosure of this information was provided to customers of the Lubeck Public Service District by either the water company or DuPont. Instead of taking steps to eliminate the seepage of C8 into the wells owned by Lubeck Public Service District, DuPont purchased the property containing these wells from the Lubeck Public Service District, and the Lubeck Public Service District acquired new property along the Ohio River approximately 2 miles further downstream from DuPont's Washington Works plant. In 1991, C8 was detected in significant quantities in the new wells owned by Lubeck Public Service District. Due to concerns raised in a lawsuit concluded against DuPont involving C8 and loss of significant numbers of cattle, a letter dated October 31st, 2000 was drafted by DuPont for the Lubeck Public Service District to send to its customers, notifying them that C8 had been detected in the water. In January 2002, testing of the water wells in the Little Hocking Water Association in or near Little Hocking, Ohio, revealed the presence of C8. Retaining these wells has confined the presence of C8 in the Little Hocking water wells, and I also want to state that's where my sister was drinking the water when she was pregnant with her son. C8 is a bioretentive and biopersistent substance. C8 has been determined to be an animal carcinogen, causing cancer in animals. C8 is a proven hazardous substance. C8 has been linked with increased incidence of prostate cancer in studies performed for 3M. DuPont has initiated studies of the effects of C8 on mammals, such as monkeys, but these studies have never been concluded or published. DuPont's own testing has shown an association between C8 exposure and potentially harmful increased liver enzymes. A survey of 600 class members in 2003 indicates there may be an association between C8 exposure and the development of various illnesses, including a number of different cancers in humans. In June 2005, the United States Environmental Protection Agency Science Advisory Board announced that C8 is likely to be carcinogenic to humans. In a federally funded study of 360 persons in the Little Hocking, Ohio area, Dr. Ted Emmett from the University of Pennsylvania strongly recommended that people not drink water containing C8, and that people living in areas known to have water supplies contaminated with C8 should drink bottled water from an uncontaminated source. He found that young children and senior citizens had extraordinarily high levels of C8 in their blood. This study did not include enough people to determine whether or not C8 causes cancer in humans. On January 20th, 2006, the same Science Advisory Board referenced above issued its final report to the United States Environmental Protection Agency and rendered a similar opinion regarding cancer-causing properties of C8 as it had in June. That is, C8 is likely carcinogenic to humans. Needless to say, I'm very disturbed about what's going on in this area. Part of the settlement of this class action lawsuit involved a payout of $70 million. That $70 million was taken by the attorney working on this case and put out to fund a study of what's going on exactly in this area. They had approximately 70,000 people in the Parkersburg area come and participate in having their blood taken to check the C8 levels in their systems, as long as doing a survey. Those results from this test are starting to come out. They're in a database right now, as I understand, at West Virginia University, going through comparison and correlations within the database. It's going to give us a pretty good idea of how greatly this area has been affected by C8. I moved away from the Parkersburg area about 15 years ago. I'm not sure exactly how long you've been gone from the area. But as you know, when you get a chance to get out and see the world and see different perspectives and not being stuck in the same small town, you start to notice things that seem suspicious or not quite right. This is one of the things behind me here, this bridge. This bridge goes over Blennerhassett Island, and this may mean something and it may not, but I just thought it was very strange that they would build, I don't know if it's the city or the state that's responsible, or if DuPont's responsible, but to build a bridge over a historical island, it just absolutely made no sense to me. I was very confused by it. The other night I was talking to my dad about what was going on with C8 and telling him a bit about what I wanted to do and trying to get some of this exposed. And he had a couple of interesting things to say to me. My dad worked for a company called Foxborough, and they sold instrumentation, and that was one of the things that my dad did, was traveled around and sold instrumentation to these chemical plants. DuPont, he sold instrumentation to for injection wells that run underneath the DuPont. Very, very deep wells, and what he sold them was instrumentation that reads very, very high pressures. And he said what DuPont did was they would take their waste and stick them in these injection wells and send them with very, very high pressure into the ground underneath DuPont. And we wonder why the wells in the surrounding area are contaminated with C8. Then I asked my dad, I said, Dad, what's going on with Blennerhassett Island? How did they manage to build a bridge over Blennerhassett Island? Who's responsible for that? And this is speculation, but Dad said, I think they own it. And I said, really? That's very interesting. And I said, well, why do you say that, Dad? And he said, well, most of the water that they use to run that plant comes from wells. It's drawn from wells on Blennerhassett Island. I don't know if it means anything, but it just seems that here we've got DuPont Road, all freeways into DuPont, and now there's a bridge here crossing the Ohio River, seems to me, so DuPont can get their trucks on the road faster. Just something else I wanted to point out. Just wanted to give you a different perspective of the bridge. You can see it up. You can see it running over Blennerhassett Island. And of course, if you look down in the distance there, you can see DuPont. And you can see, of course, things being put into the air down there. Something's going on in this area that's just not right. Right now I want to talk about some of the affected water districts involved in this class action lawsuit, being, of course, downriver from DuPont, Little Hocking, Ohio, Lubeck Public Service District in West Virginia, City of Belpre, Ohio, Tuppers Plains, Chester Water District, Ohio, Mason County Public Service District in West Virginia, and this also includes water provided by the Evans Public Service District, because its water is provided by the Mason County Public Service District, and the Village of Pomeroy. Part of the agreement of this class action lawsuit was that DuPont paid out some money to install some filtration devices. I don't know where they're installed. I don't know if they're the water facilities or if they're at the plants, but carbon filtering to get the C8 out of the water. There are two districts that still have not had the filtering put in, and that is the Little Hocking Water District, I know for sure, and I believe the other one is the Tuppers Plains Chester Water District in Ohio. Even though these filtration systems have gone in, the C8 levels in this area are still continuing to rise. And that's a lovely shot of DuPont here behind me. I cannot see what the signs say, but over across the water in DuPont, there are two orange signs, one here, one just a little bit downriver. Orange signs with black writing mean hazardous to me. I don't know what they say, we can't zoom in tight enough on them, but another thing that just doesn't look like it should be. I was also visiting with one of my girlfriends while I was in town on a visit, and I was telling her what was going on with the C8 in the area. She did tell me that her brother had been down the river from the Marietta area about a month before this, and had been down here in front of the plant, and there was nothing, he said, but a bunch of dead fish floating in the water. So another thing that I want to bring up in regards to DuPont, and that is, I was told, I haven't checked my facts on this yet, but I was told that there was another plant in Louisiana run by DuPont that was also causing a lot of serious C8 contamination. And it's my understanding that when Hurricane Katrina went through down there, that kind of dissolved DuPont's issue and problem, because all the C8 obviously was swept out with the hurricane. In closing, you've been out with us a little bit today. I'm not an investigative journalist, but some things just look fishy around here in the Parkersburg area. I've even talked to a pilot who says that when you fly into the area that you can see the pollution actually on the radar. We need to get some people into this area and help the people of this area, because they're not helping themselves. Don't know why there's not a whole lot of talk about C8 in this area, but one thing I can tell you is there are many, many, many health issues. I myself moved out of the area some years ago, but I have my MS diagnosis, something I deal with on a daily basis. I have a lot of pain in my back from muscle spasms, suffer from headaches and nausea. My sister also has MS and suffers with some things, but you know, we showed you Brock earlier, and what's going on with Brock doesn't just stop at the scars. This is something that he's going to have to deal with for the rest of his life. One of the issues for him currently is that he can't tell when he needs to go to the bathroom, and it's going to be a long journey for his parents, you know, some things that they have to deal with. This is a call to help. This is a call to action. We want you involved. We want the press involved. We want anybody involved. Some people to get down here and start crawling through what's going on down here and talking to some people. The last thing that I want to show you, I went to church on Sunday with my sister and her husband, and I opened up their church bulletin and took a look at the prayer list, and what I saw made tears come to my eyes, and I was very shocked. And I'm going to hold this up. I don't know if you can get a close shot of what I have in my hand here, but after it gets zoomed in on, I'm going to read it. Okay. Let me tell you what this says here. This is a prayer list. And I'm going to read down the list of what the health problems are. And when I was sitting in the congregation, there was about 40 people in the congregation. So keep in mind, this is prayer requests coming from a small congregation of people involving their friends and family. Infant health, health problems, recuperating from heart problems, cancer, biopsy on tumors, health problems and further tests, health problems, continuing battle with cancer, leukemia, brain tumor, reoccurrence of cancer, and cancer. Just on this one list, 23 incidences of health-related and cancer-related issues. And I just wonder if I don't go to other churches in this area and look at their prayer lists if I don't see the same thing. Somebody, please come help Parkersburg.